r/AskReddit. Have you ever read a story on Reddit and realized you know the person in real life? What happened? My Bill once posted to Twitter about a fight he had gotten into with my sister. I had heard about the fight earlier from her, and the details in the post history made it obvious it was him. Everyone ganged up on him saying he was the asshole, and he was being very argumentative and aggressive with the commenters, which is so unlike him. It was bizarre. I showed the post to my husband and didn't say another word about it to anyone. I came across someone I knew from high school. We weren't friends or anything, but he was a nice enough guy. Him and his wife had lost something like 100 lbs combined. I was happy for him. Yeah, I saw someone I knew on r/roast, and it was so awkward. I started stalking their profile only to find that they posted various memes on depression and how even though they were extremely depressed they were also very determined and wanted to live. It was a mixture of inspiring and depressing since their posts were all over the place. He was a priest assigned to a parish where I was organist. Every comment he posted reflected our times together. Over lunch, I mentioned, "I see you're on Reddit too." He just smiled and asked, "How did you know?" At that point, we just laughed and became even closer friends. There was an AskReddit thread that asked the worst scene emergency responders have come upon. One was about person I went to high school with who was murdered while off at college. Was pretty creepy. In my town a toddler escaped from his daycare and was wandering down the middle of a busy road. He was found by a local worker after hearing multiple people honking as they drove around the kid. I posted to my town subreddit asking what the was wrong with our town that no one stopped. I got a beer with another dad and he brought up the story he read in Reddit, which I had posted. I said, "Hey, that was me," but the conversation just kept going. I don't think he heard. I recently discovered an ex's Reddit. We dated in 2004, and it was interesting to see his comments and posts, but eventually they just stopped. Then a few months later I learned he had died. Life is short. Edit. https://www.reddit.com/user/bagamemusic. https://www.reddit.com/user/bagamemusic. He was a nut in 2004, only got nuttier with time. He did a lot for me, and I wish I could tell him that. In the Houston subreddit someone posted a picture of a belly dancer at a Greek restaurant they went to. I think they were there for their anniversary, and they really enjoyed the restaurant food and entertainment. I looked closely at the picture. Turned out I knew the dancer. We had taught at the same charter school about 3 years before. One of her first graders had been allowed by her mother to get ice cream every day before school at 7 a.m. Every day she crossed a major thoroughfare in rush hour traffic with her older brother. One day she ran ahead and was hit by a school bus that couldn't stop in time and was killed instantly. My friend was devastated beyond belief and ended up leaving education. Soon after a wedding, where I was in the wedding party and knew the wife way better than I knew the husband, I found the husband on Reddit. He was so wholesome. I knew I liked him and that they were a good match, but that was just an extra layer of being happy for the wife for finding someone like that to be in her life. Saw a screenshot of this tweet, and in the photo was this guy I recognized as a customer from the arcade I used to work at. He has no arms, this is relevant, and was decked out in Sonic clothes. I think his t-shirt said something like Sonic for women's rights maybe. Everyone I worked with knew him. He was really nice and amazing at playing Guitar Hero with his feet. All the comments were saying where's his arms and making fun of the Sonic outfit. Made me sad cause he's so nice. I'm only on Reddit because my ex kept telling me to go on it. I was on the relationship advice page and someone had posted about being in an open relationship with my AGF and her AGF, saying that he'd dumped one because this girl stopped wanting the open relationship and all he could think about was wanting her back. The other girl being boring and missing his now ex. Well, I'm his now ex, and I split with him because I found out he had another girlfriend in another city. On the r/Amethyst hole subreddit, the one about A to 4 calling my teacher by her first name when she refers to me by my last. In a hoe I didn't necessarily find it, but someone from our class did and went to the principal about it. Writing about our school online is strongly prohibited, so while that happy ending by op did happen, in the end they got in enormous trouble in school. They forced her, although many assumed to be a male on Reddit, haha, to delete her account, and she got expelled. I feel horrible for her. She never has the best luck with anything. Someone posted an ATR a few months ago that seemed strikingly familiar, so I messaged him for a few minutes and learned that he was a customer with whom I'd had a bad experience earlier that day. The events he posted on Reddit had been trimmed so as to uninclude most of his worst moments. I messaged the mods proof and then posted the real story in the comments. The op was lambasted, and for a brief moment I was a minor hero. Yup, I was. Browsing gone wild when what do I see? A tattoo a very good friend of mine got with me. So I realized it was her almost instantly. Decided to message her and told her that I've had feelings for a long time, but didn't want to ruin our friendship. Plus she always dated guys and I never had a suspicion that she had any romantic feelings towards me. Well, long story short, after telling her, she asked if I could take a few pictures for her to post. And we ended up having some fun that night, which has led to a 2-year relationship. I used to be a play ultimate frisbee on a college team. The captain of that team, a guy that I knew pretty well who went on to play professionally, died in a car crash. His death was pretty well covered in the sports subreddits, and a lot of people I haven't talked to in years showed up pay their respects. My brother posted a story years ago, but he mostly lurks now. I knew it was him since he told me about it. I commented on it and he thought it was funny. A few times I saw posts about me. They were not flattering. I think I see this sometimes, but I figure Reddit is a big place and mostly anonymous, so I just ignore that little voice. Glad they shared. I hope you add to the question, anyone on NSFW know anyone who's posted nudes? Other way around. I gave a few details on how I got my college scholarship and another team coach figured out who I was. Just a few PMs to catch up. We had both moved on. It was a bit odd. I really didn't offer much detail, but the policy debate community isn't all that big, especially national traveling teams. I saw an AMA from a bus driver that worked for a specific bus company and recognized him as a friend of my husband's. He left some things out of his AMA that could have been somewhat interesting, namely being fired from the bus company he worked for and going over to a charter company. One of the buses for the charter company was rentable for parties and had a stripper pole in the back. I got my girlfriend at the time into keto after discovering the subreddit. Fast forward a few months and we had both lost a bunch of weight. Then she started cheating on me. I found out, contacted the other dude and let him know the situation, and we both walked away from her. She posted on the keto sub a bit later about how she'd gone through a breakup and was emotion eating and whatever. I started to get a pit in my stomach reading it, and sure enough, when I clicked on the pic she'd posted, it was her. She wasn't even a regular Reddit user, and I'm pretty sure she made that post just for me to see. One of my employees was terrified about coming out as trans. How do I tell my boss I'm turning into a woman? Her post identified her, me, our somewhat conservative workplace. I already knew. I had 4 friends transitions a few years ago. I know the signs. She was given great advice, but I approached her in the end and said, I saw your post on Reddit. It's all good. Would you like a huge box of makeup? I gave her a huge box of makeup and shouted her to her first eyebrow shaping as a good job gift a few years ago. She had such a masculine monobrow originally. I've advocated with her against some conservative discrimination, but it's never been a huge deal. We live in a pretty freewheeling city. TBH. We're cool. She's a great employee. Her eyebrows are still on fleek. I was browsing the sub for my city and saw an interesting post. I looked at the username and recognized it as an ex-coworker because the username is the same one they use on Instagram. Out of curiosity I looked to see what else they have posted and found out that they are really into taking shrooms. Never would have guessed it. This person was so straight-laced and by the book when we worked together. I was really surprised. Posted in a small town sub forum in Costa Rica and 2 friends found me. I wouldn't post anything crazy, but you can kinda read the voice I guess. I'm going to go pop some popcorn. I just found my entertainment for the night. I had to hide all of my jumper cables. We were telling our dog Walker about this crazy story from Reddit of a guy who was in the big Boston blizzard that had just happened and ran out of this rare drug used to help with organ transplants. And someone on Reddit helped him by giving him some of their same rare organ transplant drug. And he was like, "That was me." I commented on someone's post which led to DMs for a while. It was during the start of the pandemic, so I didn't have much time to link stuff up, but it turns out it was someone I hadn't talked to directly in over a year. One kid from my school posted about his grandma contracting COVID-19 and had been one of the first deaths due to the virus in our town. He mentioned that she had gone to France and other parts of Europe during this time and not followed precautions and instead putting others in danger by dodging screenings and taking pills to reduce the fever that she had so that she could board the plane back home. Pretty messed up, but I immediately knew who it was. Saw a thumbnail of an article in my city's subreddit. I recognized the person as someone I went to high school with. When I clicked the article he was featured in, it turned out to be about him sexually harassing and exposing himself to a woman on a train, and that they didn't know his identity, and he was wanted. When I commented on the post, turns out someone else also knew him, and we PM'd each other to confirm if it was actually him or not. He turned himself in to police later in the same day. I can't wait to see the responses to this one. I hope this gets very popular with thousands of comments and upvotes cause I wanna read a lot about this lol. Me and a mutual buddy fucked with him by posting references that to anyone else would seem random, but that he would recognize as being landmarks he knew. There's a shower taco story from my boarding school that gets posted. It's such a legend. I can never figure out if the person is retelling it years later or was from my same grade. I usually warn people in advance, if they want to hunt down my account, that they are probably going to get pretty uncomfortable. I tend to answer a lot of stereotypical sad boy posts, so it can get pretty singy, and whether they want to see that is on them. On a post with a photo of Trump's parents, I recounted a story about delivering pizza to a lady who had just gotten a facelift. A friend I haven't seen in 10+ years commented just the name of the restaurant that I worked for. Nothing else. It freaked me out for a second, but I figured out who it was. It's a small world. Edit. Link to thread. Can't figure out how to link to specific comment. https://www.reddit.com/r/ or feel everything/comments/hrkv44/yes/5583. The other way around for me. I posted a comment about a friend of my nephew. No names or anything, but it was about an injury the kid had sustained. Someone the kid knew responded, confirmed the school name and everything. I was somewhat new to Reddit at the time and felt really bad. He had fallen from a tree and sorta impaled through his behind. Poor guy had to go through a lot of surgeries, but from what I know he's doing okay now. The comment was in a light-hearted manner, and I still feel awful for it. Technically I don't know for sure, but I have a damn good feeling. About a month or so ago a guy posted a thing saying his girlfriend believes she is a cat. He went on to explain their relationship and all her quirks and whatnot. The more I read the more it sounded like this girl I had a really complicated relationship with some years ago. Everything matched, even her age. At one point she said something about wanting to quit her job and live full time as a cat. And I swear to God this girl I knew once said the same thing to me. The girl I knew even used to meow and mew like a cat. I reached out to opt to see if we lived in the same area to find out if it was in fact her, because if so I was gonna warn him about the fact that she was very emotional, abusive and manipulative. But he never answered. I'm still fairly certain it's her though. I found someone I knew IRL, looked at their profile, and I wasn't surprised just based off of what I knew of them already. But I do admit I kinda wish I'd never found them. I won't elaborate further, just because I think it'd be pretty easy to find them if I did. Not on Reddit, but the notebook my roommate has. That's what you get for finding my Reddit though, Ben. Yes. One of my good guy friends posted about problems with his relationship, and when I started reading it, I immediately knew it was him. To be honest, I didn't know he used Reddit. He voiced some of these issues to me before, but never in the manner I was reading it. I ended up liking it, and then discovered he deleted the post and we never spoke about it ever. Not in real life, but we had a girl posting daily and everybody liked her. All of a sudden, all her pics were gone. The reason was, one thirsty guy found out she did amateur porn vids with her boyfriend and some nude pictures as well. It was a story about these Nazis harassing this restaurant patrons and nearby pedestrians. They started in the park across. They were decked out with Nazi gear and were just being total asses. Turned out I worked there. I found out from the article first, as that was my only day off. I was acquaintances and Facebook friends with a lesbian who was constantly posting on Facebook about 1, her recent injury, and 2, wanting forehead kisses. One day I saw a couple of posts on one of the LGBT subreddits from a user who was talking about those same things. I creeped on her post history for a minute and sure enough, she was also active on my town subreddit. Also saw a couple of her nudes. Felt a little creepy about that. But she has been known to post on Facebook that she'll trade nudes for money or food. So my guess is she wouldn't mind. I never said anything to her about it because we aren't friends. She's just someone whose social circles intersect with mine at times. No need to make it weird. This makes me scared as hell that someone is going to find all of my Reddit posts about them, then go to my account to see that my top comment is a pirate sex joke. They'd be so disappointed in me. I'm like 95% sure I stumbled across my manager's Reddit account a couple months ago. There were numerous points in a post I read that lined up perfectly with things he had been talking about at work for a couple of weeks beforehand. And the word use and tone matched his speaking pretty perfectly. Not to mention the account name was fitting. It was super weird reading through the post and having the slow realization that it was him. I didn't mention it to him. This kind of knowledge is too powerful. This is something I've always wondered about. Great question. My colleague's husband posted a pic on Reddit and Facebook. I told her to tell him not to do that. I really hope someone recognizes someone through this post. My husband follows me on here, or whatever, and we got into a nerdy fight over his intelligence. It was pretty funny. Whenever I see a post that I made, I quote Star Wars. Well, of course I know him. It's me. Other way around for me. My ex saw a post of mine and messaged me. I think it was around 10 years or so after we had broken up. It was nice to catch up with her, but we didn't stay in touch. I do some mentorship through work, and one of the young professionals I mentored early in their career often posted in industry specific subreddits, referencing the useful things he learned while working with me. His username is just his full name spelled backwards. I haven't looked at his profile in maybe 2 years, so I don't know if he's mentioned anything recently. I told a story of when I broke my ankle skating, and one of the other roller derby girls in my team commented. We used to chat through Reddit a bit as I didn't skate anymore, but then last year she died suddenly in her sleep. I still have her messages and I feel weird seeing all the comments and stuff she made knowing she's gone now. Just sad. Back in college, someone found a post on Twax chromosomes from a girl that ran in our circle. It was describing a party we were all at from her POV. In the story, her ex was pining after her after months apart. One of our friends was over 6 feet tall and devilishly handsome. She rejected a lesbian that was making a move on her, and then hooked up with the hottest guy at the party. In reality, none of those things happened, and she was just a loser. IRL. Most of her other posts were similar, and it was honestly kind of unsettling. The reverse happened to me. About 2 years ago I was diagnosed with precancerous cells in my cervix, which simply put, translates to I didn't have cancer yet but was going to if it wasn't handled. Thank God they found it early. I posted on Reddit for a while during the whole ordeal, because I wanted to reach out to others who had gone through the same thing and learn more about the procedures, etc. Anyway, one day a friend came over and randomly asked me about it. Immediately I was confused because I hadn't told anyone about it other than my mom, and so he kind of laughed, kind of apologized, and said he had found my Reddit and read my posts about the whole thing. Like, even my replies to comments and stuff. Lots of honest and detailed things. I mean, it wasn't a huge deal, but it was a little awkward at the time. I've just tried to talk to her more and be a friend. She poured her soul out and talked about some dark things. Now she has started to open up. I saw my mom on Gone Wild. I Reddit stalk a couple of people. Nothing really happened. If they know that I know their Reddit account, then they would stop posting juicy stuff. So I just pretend that I have no idea. I like refreshing and seeing the upvotes going up and down. Has you/know that said Kevin had a Reddit account and found the saga about him? Unexpected ending there. I was expecting more. Yeah. Like 8 weeks ago I found out an old friend of mine had been murdered via an AskReddit thread. I went into a panic and started hitting hella people up to confirm the story, and everything lined up. Turns out nobody in the town had known what happened really. Just that she disappeared around 2 years ago. That shit hurt. She was the first person I met in that town. Always pleasant to talk with. Yes, I did drama in high school with 2 brothers. Nothing much. Just messaged them, and that was it. I'm a graduate student entering my last year of work. My thesis chair and advisor, with whom I'm pretty close, has a sports card collecting hobby. It turns out, it's not just a hobby. I saw a collection of cards I recognized from their house, and turns out it's more than a few cards and some protective sleeves. It's a $20k plus empire of basketball cards that span the history of the sport. We laugh about it. I made a post and someone found me. I posted on r/toastm after I broke up with my boyfriend, and the post ended up blowing up. Front page of Reddit. Someone commented a pun based on my ex's last name. Turned out it was his aunt. I was mortified. This is pretty much my nightmare. I make a lot of alts. My friend would have realized it was me. A few weeks ago we found out we were having another boy, so I posted to Namanids. I hadn't told my friends yet about the results, and literally as I was group FaceTiming them my friend was reading my post. I sent them the link to my post and she saw that it had taken her to the same one she had been reading. When I called them, if she had made it all the way through she would have known it was me, and we had a big laugh about it. A guy I had a crush on in high school regularly posts furry content, so was working for Domino's at the time, and it was an employee who got fired for writing in the tip amount on the tickets bad-mouthing my current boss. This was about a year ago. There's a subreddit I'm in that I know a trashy mom I know is also in. I know she reads my posts about her. I wonder if she'll ever realize they're about her. IDK her screen name. Wish I did. She doesn't know I know what Reddit is. She talks about the sub sometimes. A woman I work with is a pretty frequent poster on some Gone Wild subs. I just skip over them because I've never thought of her as anything but a professional colleague. I haven't told anyone. Treat her normally and just go about life. It was a question on AskReddit to teachers about something embarrassing they've seen their students do, and I read a story that sounded extremely familiar, like I've heard it before, and clicked on the profile to see my 8th grade science teacher and pictures of her pets, which he talked about a lot. Small world moment for sure. Knew someone tangentially through work who posted on Tifu. Left him a message so he would know it was detailed enough that I figured it out and other might too. Another coworker/mutual friend did. Not a big deal. Didn't tell anyone. Since then, the few times I've seen him were social settings and he doesn't acknowledge me, maybe not sure who I am. Embarrassed? Unfortunate cause he's a fan favorite fun guy. A guy who really fucked me over posted about it in an AskReddit about evil acts. I called him out on it. He tried to deny that he was talking about me. I outlined exactly how I could prove he was lying, and he then deleted his account. No, because she used a throwaway account to describe our marriage in intimate detail while delving deep into every facet of our miserable lives. A gal I worked with posted a project from work on a subreddit I peruse. Stalked her comment history to find that she was posting about how she was struggling from paycheck to paycheck. Was gonna actually make an anonymous donation to help her out until I found a post she made talking shit about my coworkers. She eventually stopped posting from that account. Saw my ex-girlfriend on Gone Wild.